Okay, we need to talk about something. Why are Survivor mains so toxic? Now, it's no secret to any fan that mainly plays the killer role in the game that Survivor mains can be some of the most toxic, entitled, and downright awful people in the history of gaming. Now, I'm not talking about all Survivor mains, mind you. I'm talking mainly about the ones who run primarily in toxic Swifts with comms, bully squads, and TTFs, and I'm not even getting into the straight-out cheaters. Now, if you are not a Survivor main who engages in this type of activity, don't sweat it, I'm not talking about you. But I've often wondered, what is it that makes these players so unpleasant and so unfun to play the game with? I have a theory, and it's just that, a theory, but here it is. I believe it is because they are not horror fans. Toxic Survivor mains seem to have a real hatred of anyone who is playing killer. They'll body block you, swarm you with the hook, go clicky-clicky with their flashlights, and of course, teabag, 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 especially at the gate. And then they will curse you out and threaten to report you if you have the unmitigated gall to adjust your playstyle just to remain competitive in the game. They play in a way where if you don't tunnel and slug and play in the sweatiest fashion possible, you are just going to get your ass handed to you. And when you get the upper hand and wipe them out with the 4K, boy, do they get salty as fuck. So, what's the psychology here? Well, that's where my theory comes in. Toxic DBD Survivor mains are not horror fans. Am I generalizing? Yeah, probably. But I believe that the vast majority of these folks are people who don't, never have, and likely never will be fans of the horror genre, be it in print or on screen. So, that begs the question, why are they playing a horror game? Why anyone who is not a fan of horror movies would play a game with Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, Chucky, Pinhead, Sadako, and the Xenomorph from Alien completely baffles me. Why not choose something cuter and more Zoomer-friendly? Something less likely to evoke the kind of negative behavior they exhibit. Beats me. At any rate, they have chosen Dead by Daylight as their game of choice, and they're not going anywhere else anytime soon. Especially seeing as how the devs keep tweaking the game to make it more and more Survivor-sided. Whenever I've played Survivor and found myself running from any of these iconic horror characters, I found my heart racing, and when I lost, I would release a sigh of relief and enjoy a good laugh. The same way I might after watching a particularly stress-inducing scene in an excellent horror movie. But toxic Survivor mains don't seem to feel that way. Oh no. If anything, the game seems to evoke very unpleasant emotions. When you hook them or one of their friends, they take it very, very personally. They see you as this big meanie who refuses to just leave them in peace while they do gens and rack up blood points. There's none of that positive exorcism of negative emotions horror fans experience when they're playing the same game. When I started playing the game, I came in with all the innocence of a sweet summer child. I thought I was playing a game where we take turns being the bad guy and have fun scaring each other and stressing each other out. In a fun way, of course. Kind of like the way you get scared and anxious watching a really good horror movie. Maybe it's because a lot of the players are Zoomers and Millennials, two groups that seem to have real problems with nuance. You're playing the bad guy, so you must be a bad guy. A bad, awful person who enjoys raining on their parade. DBD gives you a chance to be the monster, to be the boogeyman, to be the bad guy. They assume that this makes killer mains bad, mean people, while nothing could be further from the truth. I have encountered many fandoms, Star Trek, comic books, Doctor Who, wrestling, you name it. And horror fans are almost always the nicest folks you could ever meet. Horror fans are the absolute antithesis of a toxic fandom. They're genuinely sweet people. Not being horror fans, these players don't know the sheer pleasure of jumping out from behind a curtain and going, boo, watching people jump out of their skin, and then, of course, laugh about it. Now, no matter how awful some Survivor mains can be, I still try not to take it out on the players I encounter after getting steamrolled by a 4-man toxic TTV Swift on comms. But I don't always succeed. This creates a negative feedback loop that really takes the fun out of the game. Look, if I'm playing against a really well-organized, skilled team, I will take the L with pleasure. Good game, I will type in the post-match chat. If the team is playing well, but fairly, and without stooping to rude behavior and cheats, I might even let people go at the gate. I'll even set them down so they can crawl through it and get the win. Just in the spirit of good sportsmanship and general goodwill. But damn it, the first teabag I see, and it's no more Mr. Nice Bad Guy. I'm a tunnel, I'm a slug, I'm a camp, and I'm gonna do every dirty trick in the book to annihilate them and make their gameplay experience miserable. They bring out my ugly side, and I don't like that. I know, be the change you want to see. But what can I say? When you're playing a monster or a maniacal killer, it's pretty easy to give in to your dark side. I guess what I'm saying is that I'd like toxic Survivor mains to rethink their bad behavior. Vibes are contagious, and we have enough bad vibes in the world right now to deal with that we shouldn't have to worry about having to deal with bad vibes in a video game we presumably play for fun. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Peace.